Hello, my name is Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net for a quick YouTube video now called the Scotch-Tape Method. The Scotch-Tape Method is something I discussed recently when talking about transcription, so link to the video here, hopefully, with the magics of the YouTubes. The thing with the Scotch-Tape Method I discussed on the website, I tell it like it is to every student, basically, everybody that I come across I can give advice to. It's basically a way for you to learn more efficiently and not waste time when you're practicing something new. Of course, this ties into learning things verbatim. So when you're learning a jazz guitar solo, you have to learn note for note, start at the beginning and then end at the end, right? But it also applies to if you want to learn classical pieces or studies, say the Barry Galbraith comping studies are all written out. You have to learn something real. You have to learn like a piece of music, which we don't do a lot of in jazz as compared to classical musicians, right? Usually we just learn the scales and chords and we just improvise around. But when it comes time to learn something by memory, by rote, the Scotch-Tape Method is one of the best methods you can use. Here it is, simply. First, you pick and choose your piece of music, whatever you want to work on. Secondly, you start with the smallest fragment that makes sense for you to practice. That is the largest thing that you can play well, but still the smallest beginning of the solo or comping study or standard or arrangement or classical piece or whatnot, right? So you look at this. It can be 5 notes. It could also be just 2 notes, or it could be 1 chord. It really depends on the situation. And since I want to make this a short lesson, I don't want to give you an example. Grab a bebop head, like something by Charlie Parker, and try to do this. If it's challenging to learn isolate it. Take the first 2 or 3 parts, learn it. Now onto the Scotch tape. How does the Scotch tape work? Well, first, you play that thing, which is the beginning of what you're learning. Call it section A. You loop it until you can play it so well you can play it in your sleep. Take it once you know it, leave it to the side. Don't touch it for a little while. Move on to section B. Now you probably know where I'm going with this. Take section B, which is the next tiniest part of music you can memorize that still makes sense. Not too long, not too short, just a tiny bit that you can really make sense of, that you can learn easily, right? So if you learn next one is that might be it. Third section would be something like that. Shed section B until it's really clear. Bring back section A and Scotch tape section A and B together. Now you have a piece of tape that big. Play section A and B. Play A into B and practice this until it is perfect. Okay? Then take this, put it to the side. Once again, look at section C. Section A was section B was section C is take section C on its own. Shed it like crazy. Until it's really crystal clear what section C is. Then bring your Scotch tape. Bring back A and B from here. Scotch tape C and practice. Practice A, B, and C as one thing before moving on to anything else. So you see, this entails a lot of repetition of the materials you're practicing, but at the same time, you repeat logically. You don't always start at the beginning and make the same mistakes as you run through the thing. You don't chew more than you can, bite more than you can chew, sorry. So you don't go ahead and learn a bunch of notes and play them all wrong and all square or all not swinging, all in the wrong place, right? You take the smallest thing and execute the smallest thing perfectly. Before I let you go, that's it, right? That's it, guys. That's all I wanted to tell you is the Scotch-Tape Method. It's magical because at some point you realize, hey, I have this huge long piece of tape. I can play this perfectly. Never mind if I can play the 32 bars of the song. I have these 11 bars and they're perfect. So it's better to have 11 bars perfect than to have 32 bars half-assed. That's my perspective. And then when you get to practicing the next day, guess what? You still have your 11 bars and they're still good, and you can start working in bar 12. You don't have to start at the beginning again. You can review your piece of tape, then you can put this to the side. And If you're really crazy like me, you can grab your fake book and start actually taping or actually marking your pieces of tapes and your pieces of tape, so you can really circle the bars and see what constitutes a chunk for you in that context. This is extremely important, and that's it. I'll let you go, but one final thought is learning things really super well necessitates a huge amount of repetition. That's why we say it in French when we say we have a rehearsal, we say j'ai une répétition. I have a rehearsal. Répétition, repetition. You need to repeat the stuff you're practicing over and over and over and over again. And honestly, in pedagogy, like in my teaching, this is a recent learning. I never knew we needed to repeat things so much, but I recently went back into practicing and transcribing and my personal practice, and by taking a Pat Metheny solo apart, at some point I realized I rehearsed a line that lasts 1 or 2 bars. It's on a D flat major something chord, D flat major 13 chord. It's on a C minor blues. It's on Have You Heard, and Pat is playing this amazing lines in 16th notes. I think I rehearsed it 500 times in one night. I figured I spent 45 minutes, I had the software do a loop and repeated that many times at that speed, 60% speed in my software, and I went, man, I repeated this 500 times. When's the last time you repeated a line 500 times to really learn it? So I see that for me, it's an innate thing, a thing I've always done, just repeat until I get it. But maybe it's a good habit that you can start to use, repeating the same things, using small pieces of tape, scotch taping them together, repeating, making sure the next, your piece is perfect before moving on to the next, right? So on this rather unfocused and kind of blabbering note, my name is Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. I hope this video is helpful. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment leave a question in the comments if you have any, and please feel free to hit me up with your questions. Take care.